Yo, YouTube, Monster Hunter Wilds is right around the corner and it's set to be the biggest Monster Hunter game yet, with the most changes to the franchise. From small refinements to big game-changing additions, there's a lot to look forward to. So today we're diving into all the things that we can't wait to experience when we finally get our hands on Monster Hunter Wilds. First things first, the new maps. Once again, Monster Hunter is taking us to an entirely new setting, the Forbidden Lands. From what we've seen so far, this region looks incredible. Capcom has already revealed 4 distinct maps, ranging from icy cliffs and desert plains to dense forests and lush grasslands. This variety should make exploration feel fresh and exciting at all times. But it's not just the scenery that's changing. Monster Hunter Wilds is also removing some of the previous restrictions on traversing and quest structure. For the first time, players can start quests directly in the field, and finishing one won't force you back to the hub. Plus, moving between maps and villages is now seamless. All of this should make the game feel smoother and more immersive than ever before. Next up, we have the new mount, the Sacred. Monster Hunter Rise introduced Palamutes, completely changing the way we moved around. While Palamutes aren't returning, Wilds is bringing us a brand new mount, the Sacred. These raptor-like creatures will play a huge role in both travel and combat. The idea of galloping across vast landscapes, possibly even engaging in mounted combat, is something we're really looking forward to. If Capcom has designed maps with these creatures in mind, they could lead to some seriously cool gameplay moments. Next up, we have the Slinger upgrades. The Slinger is back, and this time it's getting a major upgrade. Capcom is blending elements from Rise's wire bugs into the Slinger, making it more versatile than ever. Whether it's swinging around the environment, gathering resources from a distance, or using it in combat for an edge against monsters, the new Slinger looks like it's going to be a game changer. We can't wait to see just how much depth it adds to the moment-to-moment gameplay. The biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is a more immersive ecosystem. Monster Hunter has always been about creating believable living worlds, and Wilds is taking that to the next level. Capcom has promised the most dynamic ecosystem we've ever seen, where monsters and wildlife interact in even more realistic ways. Simply wandering through the world and seeing how creatures behave, whether they're hunting, resting, or even fighting each other, will make every hunt feel unique. Next up, we have the weather mechanics. One of the biggest new features in Wilds is dynamic weather and seasonal changes. We've already seen glimpses of massive sandstorms, blizzards, and other extreme conditions that will directly impact gameplay. If weather affects monsters' behavior, tracking, and even the types of creatures you encounter, it could add a whole new layer of strategy to the hunts. We're especially curious to see how these mechanics will evolve throughout a playthrough. Next up, we have watching the monsters fight. One of the coolest things in modern Monster Hunter games is watching monsters interact, and sometimes absolutely wreck each other. Wilds is pushing this even further with more advanced monster AI that makes fights between creatures even more dynamic. We can already imagine the chaotic moments that will come from 2 apex predators clashing in the middle of our hunt. Next up, we have facing new monsters. Of course, the heart of Monster is, well, hunting monsters. Wilds is bringing back plenty of fan favorites, but also introducing a roster of brand new creatures. Learning their behaviors, adapting to their attack patterns, and figuring out the best way to take them down is always one of the most exciting parts of any new Monster Hunter game, and we can't wait to see what Wilds has in store. Next up, we have forging new armor. Beating monsters is great, but let's be real, the best part is crafting the new gear from their part. The core gameplay loop of slaying monsters, forging stronger weapons and armor, and then using that gear to take on even tougher hunts isn't as addicting as ever. We're eager to see the fresh armor designs and unique weapon upgrades Wilds will introduce. Next up, we have mastering every weapon. All 14 weapon types are returning, but as always, they won't play exactly the same as they did in previous games. Capcom always tweaks the weapon balance and mechanics with each new entry, so we're excited to see what's changed. Some of these changes will be controversial because, let's be honest, no Monster Hunter game can satisfy every weapon main, but hopefully the improvements outweigh the drawbacks. Lastly, we have the co-op adventures. While solo play is always an option, Monster Hunter is at its best when played with friends. Wilds is bringing improvements to the multiplayer experience, especially when it comes to playing through the story with others. Exactly how these changes will work remains to be seen, but anything that makes co-op more seamless is a win in my book. That's just a taste of everything that I'm excited about in Monster Hunter Wilds. What are you looking forward to? Let me know in the comments, and if you're enjoying my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be covering Wilds through its entire lifespan. Thanks for watching. Later.